welcome to the 208th episode of Sawdust Nation podcast. I am Tim from Gears and Fire. With me, as always, is Josh from North Country Woodworking, and today we have a very special guest. We have the fanciest mustache I've ever seen, and attached to that mustache is Matt from the Wooden Mustache. Matt, what's going on, dude?
Hello. How you doing?
Super fancy.
So I am Matthew. Other choice names. I respond to most of them.
Just don't gotta be late for dinner, eh?
But yeah, I have a tiny shop and make random stuff.
See, that's what I'm impressed about your shop. Every time I see you on the lives, every time I see you on the stoop, you're always doing something in the shop. Like, that is a nonstop shop.
I wouldn't say nonstop. I get the laziness. I get the laziness bug every now and then.
I would say I see pictures of meals. I see pictures of drinks at a golf course. I'm not saying you don't get out, but I'm just saying when you're in the shop, you're always doing something.
Yeah. If I'm out here, I make sure that I'm getting something done. These coasters that I'm doing for my friend's wedding are slowly killing me.
How many coasters are you doing?
That was
12 sets of 4, so 48.
Holy mackerel! And are you doing this pro bono?
No.
Good for you. Good for you.
First joke of the evening.
I turned down a job because I think they expected me to do it pro bono, and I said,
No. No, I'm getting paid for this, and I've just had issues with. I've actually never made coasters before, so this has been a lot of experimentation and learning. With like which step to do first, because I got a chamfer on the top and the bottom. Okay. I use borax. I used some borax for the first time to get like a darker burn and stuff. And,
borax, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Getting all chemistry up in here.
Yeah, so.
What kind of wood are you using?
So I got some curly maple from Okooch Hardwoods. So like this is one of the coasters.
Okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
And I lasered the back with my logo on it also. So when I first did the borax trick, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like a nice deep black burn. And then I went to do the chamfer, and on my router table, the char from the burn just smeared all over the maple and just made a complete mess. And I did one coaster, and I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. So I ended up sealing it with some shellac.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I did the chamfer. The only bad thing about that is I had to go back and do the finish like multiple times because that chamfer is raw. So
okay.
Yeah.
So
learning
asking
things.
For a friend and learning and stuff. Like explain the borax to me. Like what is that all about?
So the borax is basically just like laundry detergent for the most part. It's sold as laundry booster and multi-purpose cleaner. So it's just like a granular like powder and stuff. And I watched some guy's video on YouTube, and I want to say, I might get the measurements wrong, but I think it's 5 fluid ounces of warm to hot water to 1 tablespoon of the borax powder. And what you do is you mix that up, put it in a spray bottle, and then just spray it onto the surface of where you're going to do your burn. One thing I've noticed is it kind of leaves, if you do just like a little puddle with the borax, you see kind of like the outline of where that was versus where the curly maple is. So I'm kind of trying to fix that a little bit.
So is it maybe like put the borax solution on a rag and then soak the wood and then burn it, something like that?
Maybe doing it on a rag might be a better idea.
What kind of laser
like
do you got? Let's start there.
Like a no fuzz rag.
I got a little baby Orter 10 watt.
Okay.
Nothing.
I mean, you get darker burn, but it might take longer. I know you're probably 48. You don't want to spend too much time on it, but borax works.
No.
What else? There's a couple different things out there that help. You can get that works for metal. I was thinking more of the OMTech spray. It's like a white spray.
Mm-hmm.
You can get.
I have. Yep, I've done tumblers with that stuff.
You might be able to try that. I've never seen it done, but it's the same concept, really. And then that stuff comes off super easy, and it might save you an entire step where you don't have to worry about.
You might be onto something right there.
Let me know the results.
Tumblers. Do you have that rotary thing too?
I do. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I have the rotary.
What setup do you got?
I did. I have the Jaws, rotary from Orter. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay.
I originally bought the roller, and then I was talking with someone, and they were like, "No, you don't want that one." There's definitely certain applications where that roller would work really well, but for mine, for what I wanted to do, which was basically tumblers and stuff, he said to use the chuck.
I would agree with that. I mean, there are definitely ones out there that are very pricey that you can get a roller application where it physically rolls. But the chuck, I mean, like, it's not going to slip. You're not going to have any worries with that kind of chuck. So, like, it's a good investment. Either way you go with it. But I see your mug when you were taking a drink. I'm assuming that's one of yours that you did.
No, this is actually Jake and Jamie.
Oh yeah, now I can see it.
Saturday morning cartoon.
There it is.
This is a Saturday morning
little advertisement. Cartoons. If you're not watching them, go ahead and check them out on Saturday morning.
That is a good time.
Jen from Jen's Turn made this.
Nice. Yeah, I remember when she first got her laser, and she was setting that up.
Yeah, it's really, really clean. She does a really good job.
Those guys definitely have picked up a lot in a short period of time. It's impressive watching their progress.
Oh yeah, that community that they've built over time is insane. You know, like because he does the
Creator Makers podcast, right?
No, this is actually Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh,
with Jake and Jamie. They also do the Creative Makers podcast tomorrow night. Yeah, the fundraisers they did Make-A-Wish last year, and I think they made enough money to do a complete wish, which was like $10,000 to $12,000 or something.
Holy cow, that's great!
And they gave someone like a complete wish and stuff like that. It's so cool what they're doing over there.
It's a fun time. If you get to go, check it out.
Yeah, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern time. For anyone watching.
That's not too early, folks. I don't know about you, but I am not an early riser. I think I could swing 11 a.m.
That's a little early for me sometimes.
I think we've all had those weekends. But, yeah, I mean, great group of people. Yes. Like I said, check them out. If you don't, you're missing out. I know I've missed quite a few episodes, but when I got to check them out, and when I get to check them out, it's always worth my while. So, that's one thing. Obviously, this podcast is about community as well, and we're not shy about advertising good people on here. So,
absolutely, yep.
But that's pretty cool.
So,
man.
Other than laser work, I've also seen you do some pretty cool epoxy work stuff too.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, I've done a few wedding signs. One was with epoxy, and a few others. I have a scroll saw behind me and stuff. Since I got the laser, I feel like I use the scroll saw way less.
That makes sense, right?
It's so much easier. this goes along. I don't have a CNC, but I got a 3D printer now also, and those machines that you just like, here you go, do your job, and I'm gonna do something else while you do that. Like that's, oh man, I'm really loving that.
Well, the two of us are not going to accuse you of not being a woodworker because you have talent. Like I've seen your work. Like you can put the skill behind the design. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
You're gonna make me blush.
we've had this
Can't see
debate.
it behind that mustache.
We've had this debate multiple times on here because in the beginning, when that question first arose, and we're using machines, does that separate you from making, what have you?
Yep.
I was a little bit on the fence because I didn't have a machine to compare it to. But as we progress and we all get our machines and whatnot, slowly realize that there's a lot of work behind designing and stuff like that. You have to have.
Yep.
I mean, Tim, you've been doing it for like a career, most of your life.
Yeah.
But
you're not lying.
It's one of those things where, how do you explain that to somebody? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got, bring someone in your shop. And like for me, they're like, oh, you got all these machines. You can do almost everything. I'm like, yeah, but it takes time. Yes, it's nice when they're working and doing their thing, but you don't see the hour or two prior of setup. And
right.
everything.
Just because they're not using a paintbrush doesn't mean they're
Yeah.
not an artist. The mouse and keyboard, that's my paintbrush.
Sorry, but I'm not a painter. I've done painting. Like I've done it. It's come out great, but like
I painted a fence once.
it's. I don't enjoy it. I don't like the finish that comes out with. I like a very clean, glossy finish there. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Any more machines up and rising? Are you going to dive into any of them? Like,
I don't know. I mean, like, I would love a CNC.
I'll sell you one.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I mean, money. I bought a new truck last year, and I went from no truck payment to a very substantial truck payment. And
where'd you get?
It's a nice truck, man.
Kind of been going. I just got a Ford F-150, but I went all in. I mean, that truck will drive itself. That has it does the
it's parking. Self-parking.
It's called Blue Cruise is like the Ford terminology.
Okay.
But I can set my speedometer at say 70 miles an hour or something, and it will stay in the lanes, and it will keep appropriate space in front of me and stuff, and it's all hands off. If I'm on a major interstate, like it's hands-free mode completely.
Okay, so there's definitely no machines in your. You have an automated machine.
Yeah, it's really fancy, and I went kind of bare bones on my 2014 Chevy that I had, and like just because at that point that was my first truck then, and I was just like, ooh, gosh, I mean, I think that truck at the time was $40K or something, and I was like, I don't want to go anywhere above that at all. And I kind of splurged a little, and oh man,
good for you.
It has a generator. Like if I'm camping or something, that has a 6 kilowatt generator in it.
Wow! So you got every option available. It sounds like.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's the I think in the Ford lines, it's Platinum is like the highest, or maybe Raptor's higher than the
Raptor's
Platinum.
high, but that's like more for sport and whatnot.
Yeah, but like I got the Lariat, which is like a step down from the Platinum, and that thing, it's a nice truck.
I have a 2011 F-150 Lariat, and that's pretty fancy. And like, you see, we got like the faux wood trim and stuff like that. Like, pinky's out,
Wow. Am I the only Ram guy here? I got a 2017 Ram Rebel.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah, my buddy. My 2011 only cost me $14.
Oh, hey, bud.
I was just saying, it's a big old thirsty V8, but I mean, it gets the job done.
Yep.
Like it hauls wood. It hauls a lot of wood. Like those big slabs they have in the garage. I got all that done in 2 trips.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
those trucks. I mean, like they're just workhorses. I hauled my truck from New Jersey, or not my truck, my shop from New Jersey here, and basically it had everything. All the heavy equipment was in that trailer, and like,
oh wow,
no issues. 14 hours later, we're here.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't towed anything huge. I've just been using the bed for everything, but I don't know. I'll throw a hitch on that guy someday. But it's coming. Like as long as I keep, making my setup and maker cam more elaborate, I know there's a trailer in my future.
You pull up and it's like a pop-up trailer. It goes into like a mansion.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to make it yourself.
Camper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Oh.
So after the coasters, you got anything else lined up?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that bought. We've kind of had the same conversation for like the past 2 years now. He's in my golf league. Well, he was in my golf league. He moved out of town, so he's pretty far away now. But he bought one of the sitting desks,
Okay.
like the mechanism and everything, and he just slapped a piece of plywood on the top and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, I'd really like you to make me, like a nice top for this and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, like let's do it." I mean, I have all the materials. I just need to like do it.
Yeah.
But, not gonna do like a slab top, live edge slab top for him.
No, it's just gonna be. I have a nice piece of poplar plywood that's oh my goodness, I think it's like 12 or 14 ply or something. Like it's really, really nice. I built my desk in my office with that same piece and stuff, and I was like, I could put some I could do some like walnut edge banding on it and stuff, and like on my desk I just put poly on the plywood. Mm-hmm. And because I like the contrast, like I have the walnut edge banding on the edge, and I think it looks really good with the contrast between dark and light and stuff. So he didn't really like that idea. He was like, "Oh no, I'd want it to kind of all be like the same walnut color." And I was like, "Oh, okay.
Come on,
fine." So I might just build a test piece, with like some scraps or something, and just be like, "Here's what it's gonna look like. Do you still want to stain it?" Because like I could go back and I'm 50-50 with stain. Like sometimes I'm like, no. And then other times I'm like, yeah, it would look good.
Yeah. Stain's weird because like, if I don't have to do a project with staining, I try to stay away from it. Mm-hmm. I do like the natural look, what I'm saying? It's easier and you don't have to worry for, anything drying or whatnot. But there have been some projects where it's like the client was right. Like they nailed it with the stain. Like they got, they picked the right color for the project and everything turns out just fine. But yeah, I pretty much got rid of most of my stain for the most part. I got the basic stuff that people mostly get, and that's about it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I want the dark wood.
I want the dark wood, but I want to pay half the price.
Here's some pine, here's some dark stain, and we're good to go.
I am going to shoot myself in the foot for this, and I don't mean to take anything away from this current conversation, but so I'm going to be building a whole bunch of furniture for myself here in the upcoming year, and I was thinking about exactly how I want to go about it, and like, I'm like, for the price and everything, sometimes pine looks pretty damn good.
It does look good.
You know what I'm saying? Especially for like...
It has its place, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't build like my table out of it or anything, but I'm talking more like, for the top of my dresser. It's a pretty old dresser. I've had it for a good, 10-something years. And like there's a bow, like, the brace in there broke and, think about putting a couple slabs of pine on there, finish it up real nice, kind of maybe paint it, lighter color or whatnot. Should be beautiful, you know what I'm saying? I guess I could do poplar and kind of get that same look. Maybe, be lucky and get some purple in there, but a lighter color wood. It's like I break the bank essentially. But
yeah.
I definitely need to check out. Do you have that desk that you were talking about on your page? Because I'm curious myself. I'm having kind of trouble visualizing.
Ooh. It is so far. It's buried. I'll send you a picture of it.
Yeah, because like that's not a combination I would automatically ran to. So I'm curious on the look of it.
No, it's let's see. It's basically an L. It's shaped like an L. So we have 3-bedroom. We have a 3-bedroom house here, and the back corner bedroom that's slightly bigger than the other one is my office. So I built a Murphy bed in that room.
Okay.
And I also made that desk in that room, and I built it so that the longer side of the L is basically in the way of where the Murphy bed would drop down.
Okay.
And so on against the wall on the longer end, I put a French cleat there to have it sit there, and then I made 2 V out of like 4x4s for the legs, and then I put some those inserts that you drill out and then you can put a bolt into. I always forget the name of them.
The threaded insert?
Yeah, just like a threaded insert.
I can't think of another name for them.
Threaded insert.
Yeah, that's what I call them.
That was my entire Sunday night. I had to do 15x16 threaded inserts for my spoil board.
All of
you
them.
dreamt about them that night.
Yep. But
okay, 240.
I got a friend coming over. I got a friend coming over tomorrow, and he's from Vermont, and I was just like, dude, you know what? If you want to crash here, by all means. So the past like hour, I've been cleaning up my office because we haven't had anyone. We have someone stay over like maybe 4 to 5 times a year or something. You know, it's not often that I need to like break down that room, but yeah. So,
just enough to justify the Murphy bed.
Right. I mean, like I am so happy I built that Murphy bed. Like that has been a huge win.
So you've got a desk under your belt. You've got a Murphy bed under your belt. What other furniture have you made?
I built another desk for a friend of mine's father.
Okay.
And I went, oh my gosh, talk about being underwater in a project. Like, holy moly.
Never done that.
No, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh gosh, he got the deal of a lifetime with that because he came to me and he was like, "Hey, you know, like if I gave you $500, like, would you build a desk for my father?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, like I could probably do that." And you know, like it was very complicated. Like I spent probably 2 hours just in like I don't know Fusion yet, so I use SketchUp.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
To like model stuff in, and he's a very visual person, so like I made like the basic model and stuff. I had like under part under the desk and like a spot where like the desktop PC could sit and everything, sure. And I basically made like 3 different versions. You know, like one had like a second tier on the top of the desk and stuff. Another one had a spot for his printer, and you know I made him a few different variations and stuff. And I think all in all, at the end of the day, I probably made about $1.50 an hour to $2 an hour on that project.
Yep. That much, huh? Wow.
You know, like I got paid. Oh my goodness.
All the overtime.
Like,
it's kind of like how I felt about that table that I made. I mean, it took me 2 years of screwing around and learning stuff, cutting my teeth, and at the end of the day, I sold that thing for $1,600.
That's not bad.
I undersold the hell out of it, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time.
Yes, you did. But if that is, you have to do that. Like if you're doing a business, or even if you're selling things not as a business but like a hobby, you're going to eventually do that. It's like a rite of passage.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I've literally probably made nothing out of a project because like I'm like, oh, this math checks, and I get doing it, and I'm like, that math did not check.
Or like if it's easy, it doesn't mean that it doesn't take a lot of time. That's the
That
other
is something I
hard
struggled
lesson I
with.
learned over the years
Yeah.
too. It's like,
Yep.
yes, it's very easy, but it's going to take you a crap load of time. So you break down what you take in versus how many hours went into it. Sure, it was easy, but you're getting $1.50 an hour. So
And then
you really have to do some soul searching.
when you
that.
get really proficient at certain things, you have to then consider the amount of, talent and, what you're putting into there and up. It's progressive. It never stops. You always have to work on your pricing.
Yep.
To this day, I still underprice things at times.
Yeah. Well, Etsy's ruined it for all of us.
It really has.
Because you have someone that makes something and they're cranking out tons of them, and the quality is not there. But to the customer, they're not noticing that.
Yep.
And they're like, well, this person has it for this much. And you're just like, well,
go back to them.
I have absolutely dealt with that before. That's my response. It's not quite that, but it's like, okay, go ahead and buy from them. Oh, what do we want from you? I'm like, well, then you got to pay this price. And by the way, shipping.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Amazon's ruined shipping for everyone.
yeah, 2-day shipping. Yeah. Sometimes free shipping, but Amazon.
I mean, even expensive shipping isn't all that great either. I mean, I just saw not Josh Knapp's latest shipping disaster.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for that guy.
You guys get to hear about that when he comes back on, but let's just put it this way. Get insurance on everything you ship. If you do not, it only costs you in the long run. I've learned it the hard way. He's definitely learned it the hard way. I'm sure you guys have too. But like, not playing around. You need to, no matter what you do, things happen.
Yep.
So no matter how well you plan, things still will happen. So we'll leave it at that. Let him go ahead and tell his tale. But I know he was pretty upset. So
that stinks.
But yeah,
I don't know. Like I know like a lot of the stuff that I've shipped out in the past. The most complicated thing was a set of nesting tables, but it only had to go to Minnesota. Fortunately, it arrived. Everything was fine. But I mean, I wrapped the hell out of that. I covered it in like the 1-inch insulation foam.
Mm-hmm.
I made like walls and ceiling and boxed it all up and taped the hell out of it. But like I said, it made it there without a hitch. So.
Sometimes it does. I swear, you put fragile on it, or you put like do not drop or this side up. It's almost like an invitation of like, oh, okay, challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
It's like in Ace Ventura when Jim Carrey's like kicking the package around at the beginning.
Pretty much.
I got a package, people.
Yeah. It's sad, but it's true. Shipping is definitely the hardest thing to do as a business, especially if you're doing, custom stuff or like anything that's delicate.
Delicate or like odd shapes and stuff like that. That's why I swear, like if I were shipping that thing that Knapp was sending out, I would have tried to do something with a great stuff foam because, like I said, once you shoot it in there, it forms.
How cost effective is that? I haven't looked at the pricing.
It's not terrible. That's what I'm saying. You're not using an entire can.
I've seen it. I've seen it work. I've seen it when I was at Workbench Con. They were using it.
Well, think of the risk of failure. What's the cost of failure versus? I'm going to look up a can of great stuff foam. You guys talk amongst yourselves here.
Well, man, since he's looking that up, first of all, it's nice to have you on the podcast. It's nice to talk to you, and not person, but as close as we can get. I'm looking through your stuff. I'm trying to catch up where I can. I did find the desk, and I could kind of see what you were talking about. When you said edge banding, I'm thinking about gluing on a veneer versus the actual.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, I did. It was probably about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
I like how you did it. It was definitely not something I would have came up with because like I just love cherry. Cherry and walnut seem to be what I work with the most. But I got to ask, I've seen the projects you've done. I have a small space similar to yours. How do you like doing those kind of projects in your shop?
it's a constant battle for table space.
Yep.
Because like I had originally, so I bought this house in 2012, and shortly after my girlfriend and I split up, I had basically bought the house.
Yeah.
So I had a friend of mine that was super handy. Like he makes the joke, like my dad was asking to borrow my tools when I was 14. Like he's like that any project like early on when I was just like, how would I do this or how would I do this? He'd just be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like we did a bluestone patio in the back of the house. We built a shed. We've converted this space into like a conditioned space. We put a fire insert in, a wood burning fireplace in,
like a little gas
doors, windows, siding, pretty much almost the whole house. So he moved in, and we ended up building a workbench because he was like, "Oh, dude, we gotta make this into a workshop. We need like stuff in here and stuff." And it was like a waterfall kind of thing, because it was like, okay, all the lawnmower, like backpack blower, all that kind of stuff is in the shop right now, and like we got to build the shed, and then we can move that out of here, and then we can like retrofit the garage space to more of a shop and stuff. And like I had built a 8-foot long by maybe 3-foot bench, and I had that up until last year or the year before or something, and it just got to the point, like I got a new Delta table saw, and I think the overall width is about 52 or so inches, and that takes up a huge footprint, like in terms of like width and stuff. And I'm running out of space in here, but I ended up shrinking the workbench down to like 6 feet, because I was just like, this is just like not manageable. So everything in my shop's on wheels. Like if Smart. It can be, it's on wheels, and I shift stuff around in here quite a bit. I mean, this little island that I have right here, my table saw is like off camera up here. But I'm a big fan of this little island thing, because I can be on that side, I can be on this side. I got a TV up behind me.
Nice.
And I've made I made one of the flip cart for my DeWalt planer, and then on the top I have the spindle and belt sander.
Nice.
On that side.
Done that myself. It's a neat little trick to have in the shop.
I do need to get myself a spindle sander.
once I mounted that top part and just spun it, dude, that was so it didn't constrict or anything. It just spun freely. I was like, nice. Ooh,
nailed it. Yeah,
that's money. That's money.
Yeah, that was I mean, I saw. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Was it Fisher's shop?
Okay.
Fisher,
yes.
Yeah, Drew. I think it was Drew. I followed him on YouTube like 2014, 15 or something, and he had made one of those flip carts way back then and stuff, and I was like, holy moly, that is genius. Like, I love that idea. And like people since then have like taken that idea, and like I've seen someone that has like a setup where it's actually like 3, it's like a triangle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa. Or like, you have the workbench that's all flat and stuff, and then they just like pop out a miter saw, and then they pop out a spindle sander.
I'm waiting for like the carousel like devices on like this belt. It's got like 8 of them.
I will say, if you're going to do a cart like that, I do not suggest putting your miter saw in there. And I say this because that thing's going to go out a straight line. Like you're gonna have to zero it almost every time you flip it. And I say this from experience because when I first was designing my shop and my workbench, I did the 8-foot by like 4-foot workbench that could roll, and I had that flip top in there, and that's what I had on there was that miter and my planer, and it was a nightmare when it came to that. So if you're gonna do it, make sure you do it with tools you don't have to worry about being right on. And, obviously your tools that you're talking about, your planer, you don't really have to worry about that much. And then your sander, no big deal there. But keep that in mind. A little hint from what I had to deal with.
Yeah, I had the Bosch. I forget the model number, but it was the sliding miter saw, and it had the big bars that popped out of the back and stuff. And I ended up buying the like gravity rise stand for like contractors and stuff. And I got to a point when I was doing the siding, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to haul that thing outside. And that's going to be at the spot where we're doing the siding. I'm going to like chop that off and stuff. It cut, cause I was doing the hardy plank concrete boards. Yeah. And it went through that like butter. Like before I was using a grinder at one point, and the cut would like mushroom and everything. I was just like, this looks terrible. And I started bringing that, but I'm lugging that miter saw across the yard, every day that I'm doing the siding and stuff. And I went to cut a miter at one point, and holy cow, I was like, I put the speed square on it. I was like, that is so out of alignment. Yeah. Because it was just like jostling on the grass for so long.
People don't think about that when they talk about miter saws. Like if for some reason people forget that you have to zero out that and get those square. So
okay.
You got one? He
yeah.
does.
Okay, so to be fair, my chop saw is for the rough cut, and I whack that shit, and then I go off and I do all my finishing stuff on the table saw. Okay, so that's the chop saw is just the meat grinder.
I may hear a butt here, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm sure at some point, once it's not on a rolling cart. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a nice miter saw. It's the Bosch with the fancy knuckle thing or whatever.
My Delta has the fancy ones like that.
I don't know what it's called, but I really appreciate the fact that I can get it so close to the wall. But I digress. Yep. So, but this massive thing is on a cart. It's a fancy gravity cart. It's really easy to kind of move around and stuff like that, but it's not on like a dedicated long miter table. Eventually it will be. But for right now, as long as I'm using it as a meat grinder, I'm not going to get all worked up, especially when I can see the blade as I'm bringing it down. I can, can rank it back and forth.
That's something you need to train yourself.
What's the point? What's that?
It's something you have to train yourself, because in the beginning, that will happen until you actually start training yourself to go straight down or do the miter. That's your body actually moving as you're doing it. And I did the same thing. I was kind of upset because when I first got that, it's a pretty expensive saw. And I'm like, this should be a lot better. And I just realized it was I was making that problem. And I just kind of trained myself to do it. And I could do, the 45-degree cuts or any degree cut. I could do the straight chop, whatever. And it comes up. I mean, it's not always perfect. I'm not always perfect, and that's why. But it comes pretty good. I mean, 99.9%, but I'm not.
It's within tolerance. All right.
99.9% wrong, but.
Hey, I'm married also.
Well played.
So you get that 0.1% too, huh?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a great tool. You just got to, handle it appropriately.
I know I need a little more discipline. You can say it's all right.
No, it's not you. It's honestly.
To be fair, I made a beautiful table using that.
No. You did amazing with that table.
Meat grinder.
Don't not get me wrong. It's just a lot of people.
I can
blame
make a 90
tool.
when I need to make a 90.
Yeah. People blame the tool more often than not because they're not realizing what they're doing. And like, I wish I knew that because I went through, I had 3 miter saws. The first one, I can't remember if it was Craftsman. I think it was Craftsman. And like, it was used, I bought off Facebook Marketplace, and like, it was definitely not zeroed. I can tell you that much. Then I had a DeWalt, which was pretty good and really had no issues with it, but it wasn't, perfect because I really didn't know that much about it. It was kind of good learning. Then when I bought the Bosch, really dived into it and started seeing the mistakes I was making. And I was always curious, like if I went back knowing what I know now, how the other 2 saws would marry up with performance. So I will say in your experience level with the tools you're using does matter. Sometimes it is the tool, but I would say 50-50 is probably, your inexperience or not knowing something while you're utilizing it too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Yep, I agree.
When push comes to shove, I'll just blame your tool, Josh.
You're just jealous of my tool.
That's fine. That's fine. Somebody has a laser and somebody doesn't.
Hey, I tell you, go get a nice diode that's going to do you, well enough to do some of your stuff. It's a gateway tool. You buy that, you realize how well you like it, and then you show the wife, you're like, hey, I could do this, but then I could do all this.
Right. I right now, I'll say I'd be content with the laser pecker because I think it's on sale for like $700 right now. But just something that I can like put my maker's mark on, so I don't have to use the CNC to do that. Either that or I get busy and I make my own branding iron. But that's something.
That little laser that 3D DIY Dave just did a giveaway for.
Yeah,
it's like it's basically like a box, like a tube like box, and it just kind of like rolls out, and then the laser, like the way that they designed that, like I could see that being perfect, for someone, say they're going to like a craft fair or something, and they're just like, oh, you want me to laser your name onto this cutting board real quick? I could come back in 15 minutes and I'll have it ready for you.
In fact, come back in 10 so you can see the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right.
But
say if you buy this, I will do your laser engraving for free.
Right.
I'm serious, man. If I still had my old one and I didn't sell it, I would have sent it to you already because it is 100% worth it.
I keep asking my kids to buy me a laser, and they just
Father's Day is coming up.
I know. I keep reminding them of that too, and they are just deer in headlights. So I don't think it's happening.
What you got to do is start leaving like printouts of the exact ones you want, like everywhere. Like when they ask you for that $5 for whatever
cart here.
Yeah, you fold up the paper, you give them the $5 with the paper. Just little hints,
or just leave a browser window open, like at the cart.
There you go.
QR codes. Just make your own QR codes for it. Oh, what's this? Oh, jeez.
Not again.
Come on.
We get it. You want a laser.
That is something that, like, I hope someday the podcast gets big enough and we have enough Patreons where we can give away a laser of sorts.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Tim, go ahead and take the reins real quick. Let me check some real quick.
Say we do give away some pretty cool stuff. I know that we recently gave away a Maker Cam ticket. We gave away some tools here and there. Around Christmas time, we usually give away something a little bit bigger, like a toolbox. But I mean, the Patreons definitely know. Like the more chances to win, you get some pretty cool stuff. So we appreciate all of our Patreons, every single one.
Every single one.
We even have some pretty darn cool sponsors too, like PWN CNC. Daniel has been like, he's been absolute on the ball guy. Like, I mean, between keeping that business up and keeping us on the air, that guy is a superhero.
Yeah, and that's what allows us to give back to the community. So, this next giveaway coming up in July, which is going to be the second week of July, due to travel plans with all the hosts and everything else.
Due to the holiday.
Yeah, it's going to just, we're postponing it so everyone can enjoy the holiday and not try to, it's going to be a big giveaway. So, Matt, I don't know what kind of sander you use.
I just got the Rotex.
Okay, nice.
The what is it? 150.
Okay. So you can speak to the quality of like Festool and their sanders, because we're going to be giving away Festool sander. It's going to be the 125 ROS REQ. What's REQ? Not ringing a bell at this minute.
It stands for something.
It does. I can't remember what's. Anyway, it's going to be the Festool ROS 125 REQ Plus. And we're giving that away in July. So hopefully that's, goes to someone that, needs a good sander, because that could change the game in your workshop. I'm sure you're experiencing that now with your new Festool. Oh, DeWalt.
Yeah. No, I have a little like 5-inch Bosch that I bought,
Bosch is good too.
6 or 7 years ago. And that little guy, it's like right there.
Nice. I see it.
It's got the little, it's small, but that thing does a great job.
So again,
and I just
tools.
Go ahead.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but tools like that, a lot of times we use them so inappropriately, and how we, I don't know about you, when I use my DeWalt, I think Tim has the same one I had. I was pushing that down, grinding away at stuff. That's, I think, the one I had.
Is that a Merca?
No, that's
what?
DeWalt.
No, just a DeWalt.
Oh, okay.
You painted it the same colors.
Yeah.
Someday
and change.
Someday we can give away one of those too. Anyway, basically the whole plan is make enough so we can give away high quality tools for people, that are trying to get, their business started or hobby on the way.
That's awesome.
But
I like that.
We get away from that. I just wanted to mention, because it is a pretty big giveaway we're doing. I want to make sure that our audience, knows to stay tuned. We have a Linktree in every episode description, so you click that and it'll give you right to that link.
Okay.
But yeah, you just have to show up and subscribe to the channel. It's pretty easy. And stuff like that. Yeah, it's sent out that night. So we buy it and send it out. Anything that's made takes a little bit longer, but that happens that way.
Yep.
But
that's awesome.
What's your next tool, man? I know you have a truck payment and all this other stuff, but what do you really want? What you really want?
Well, Bamboo, the 3D printer.
Okay.
They have a second anniversary sale right now.
They do.
Yep. And Visa and Discover likes to just give me money, so I decided to get a new 3D printer.
XY Carbon?
I didn't know. I couldn't. That was a little too rich for me. I got the P1.
That's on sale.
I got the P1S.
P1S, that's a good one. Yep. That can do ABS.
Yes, it can. It in fact can. I bought the A1 in December, and then they had the recall, and I opted to replace the heat bed myself.
Okay.
So for that, they were giving you $120 credit towards anything in the store and stuff. So the P1S was, I think that's normally $700. So with the second anniversary sale, it's $600. So that's minus the $120, I'm $480 or so.
That's not bad for a decent 3D printer.
Yeah, and the enclosure was the whole reason I wanted it. I think the height, the entire bed size is the exact same as my A1, but because it's in the enclosure, you can do way more filaments than you could with
ABS.
Just that. Yep.
I thought
ABS.
Most printers could do ABS. Can they not? Am I mistaken? Really?
No.
I have to have a heated environment and heated bed to do ABS.
Yeah. You kind of need a chamber.
I do ABS on here, and it's just fine. I have never had an issue with it whatsoever.
Oh wow.
So.
In my experience, ABS has always been kind of finicky. That's why I was so excited that my workplace finally allowed me to buy an X1 carbon.
I will say that I have had
adapters.
issues in the winter when I print ABS.
Oh, okay.
But during the summer, for the most part, it does stay pretty consistent.
Couldn't you make an enclosure for it?
I don't know how well this is going to work, so we're going for a ride. I don't know how much air.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Can I turn this off? Nope. Pause it. There we go. Okay. So there's my 3D printer right there.
Sure.
Okay.
The Prusa. So I could, but I don't have a lot of room. That's a label. That's my resin. That's a wash and dry.
Ooh. Oh, cool.
And my buddy's got an Anycubic. They're not bad printers if you can keep up on the maintenance.
Oh, I got it. Ooh,
yeah, we have a Form Labs at a place I work at, and that was like okay for a while. Like I said, it's a kind of a pricey machine that can give you really high accuracy. But the problem is, like, the bigger the part, the more it's going to warp over time. And and you have to get like the right kind of resin to do snap features. But I've tried quite a few so far. Like every snap feature just breaks over time. It's not like an FDM printer. That's why I was so excited to get a Bamboo FDM printer with ABS. Because when I was at my previous employer, that's all we had. But it was all like the commercial machines.
Oh, okay.
So I got spoiled. That's all right.
I'm gonna figure out how to get you a
printer
laser
in the mail. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But going back to your question, Josh, I don't know. I'd say probably a CNC is the next actual purchase.
That's the right answer.
Are you going to go, full bore and go ahead and get a Onefinity Pro, or are you going to go the smaller road?
I kind of want to get a 4x4.
Okay.
From Onefinity, and I'd probably, I don't know if I would do the spindle up, or actually, can you buy it with a spindle? Or do you have to go to Pwn CNC?
So I don't think they have the option on there anymore, but they used to. I would buy it directly, because if you go directly, you're dealing with their, customer service. You're dealing with everything on that side, which I'm not going to say is better than Onefinity, but sometimes things are better dealing with the direct source.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can use, our code, which gives you some off. There's benefits going down that road. I would even venture to say, if you're, excuse me, I'm trying to do a podcast. Cat doesn't care.
They don't.
No, not at all. What was I going to say? Save your pennies. Who knows when the next machine's coming out, and who's it going to be by. There's always a new company that pops up with one, and it might be better than Onefinity. We were talking about this, I think, the last podcast. Essentially, we see this trend where a company gets really good product. They go out, they do really well for a number of years, and then someone else comes out with something that's just different enough to pull that market in that direction. So if you're saving your pennies, I personally think it's worth, and I'm doing that same, waiting for the next one to pop up.
Yeah.
So you're going to bypass Onefinity for whatever is the next thing.
Yeah. I
would actually go to Onefinity, and here's why. They have been out there a while, and they've gotten their stuff is proven. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, say you were to buy a CNC the very first day that the next big thing comes out, the bugs are in it.
It depends.
That's why you don't buy a car.
It depends.
The first year that it comes out.
Yes, I mean, I with a car, absolutely agree. Because they're mass producing, and these companies don't care. They can figure it out in the long run. It depends on the company. Now, if it's a company I never heard of, yes, I wouldn't buy that right away unless someone was like, let someone else figure out that. But if it's a company that I know about, that's already in the CNC game that comes out with a better one. Say, not Onefinity, see X-Carve. I hate to say X-Carve because it's not a great example, but say they decided to, redesign and come out with something that was a lot better than their machines now, and their customer service picked up, did a 180, if you will.
Yep.
I know I have X-Carve. I know how they operate. What I'm saying? I would consider that. Not for the prices they tried with their other machines, but I'm saying like, if they, almost like rebranded and decided, we're going to try this over with. I've seen it happen with a couple of things. Shapoco, I've seen it with X-Carve. I've seen it with Onefinity. Not saying anything bad about Onefinity. I would love a machine. If I could afford one, I would have bought one already. But I'm saving my pennies too. So like, it only makes sense for me to just kind of wait to see what pops up.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and going back to your point about like companies doing something good for a long duration of time, and then someone else comes up and they do it slightly better.
Yeah.
Like I for the longest time was looking at getting a Prusa, and like bamboo comes out and they're just like, hey, look at this.
That's a perfect example.
Look at this print time, and it's like, whoa, that is crazy, and that set, like, I have to say, I've watched Pete from Petries put one of the Prusa minis together, and it literally, like, the entire night he was like putting that printer together and stuff.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I got my A1 printer from Bamboo. I took 2 screws out of the bottom and 4 screws out of the top, and I was printing in like
holding screws for shipping.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes. So
nice.
It's just to hold the heat bed like
everything
in one
that
spot.
way doesn't shift during shipping.
Yep.
So I mean, like, there's companies out there that a lot of people don't even know about. Like one that I've looked at quite often is CNC for Newbies. I think they're Canadian based, so they're not that far away. Okay. Some people really want American made, but I don't think anything's really made here anymore. But you could buy, different argument, different time. But you could buy a pretty decent machine from them. I mean, it's base machine for the most part. You got options, but I'm looking at it right now, and you could buy. Where's the one else? It's 4x4, similar to yours, and it's about this, very close to what you're seeing from other competitors. And you might get a little bit more bust. You might get a little bit more bang for your buck, if you will. Again, compare, contrast, figure out what's best for you. But when it comes to CNCs, it just seems there's with all the major products we're using, right? There's always a new product coming out just behind the other one. Sometimes it takes a few years. Great example with the Prusa and the Bamboo.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Prusa still has, I think, the largest print envelope of the decent hobby machine.
Absolutely, because they've been out the longest. But I think
right.
So technology,
but Bamboo is already developing something.
That's it. Technology's out there for the most part. So now it's cheaper to produce. Things are getting easier to produce. So we're going to start coming to a point, and we already seen this, where the hobbyists, small business owners are getting to the point where professionals have been. And Tim, I think you're a perfect example to speak to that, because you've seen the professional side of things, the consumer.
I got spoiled real early on.
I mean, like, I would never have dreamt, when I first started this, having 3D printers that could do this stuff. I knew about 3D printers, but it was one of those things where, like, as a library or anything like that, you just didn't have one. They cost too much. Right. It's just something you see on, like, how they make things or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes and no, because my first experience with a 3D printer was our Fab Lab group at the school that I was going to at the time. We were building our own rep wrap. If any of you are familiar with rep wrap, that was like the first entry level super maker DIY 3D
I think
printer.
I've heard of it. I've never seen one.
Yeah, I mean, here's a list of hardware. Here's a list of all the electronics, and you put the whole thing together yourself. And here's the extruders and a giant, like troubleshooting menu just to get this thing going. So I went from that and then I was hired at that one job where it was all industrial grade 3D printers. So like the difference just blew my mind because the print envelopes are much bigger, but and B, there's so much more reliability baked into that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they can do like different plastics, stuff that bamboo is doing now, right? But I mean, at that time, it was like cutting edge. You could do like nylon injected ABS, whatever. I don't remember all the different plastics they could extrude, but I mean, it was just it blew my mind like that the difference between the DIY versions and like the absolute opposite end of that spectrum.
And I think we're closing the envelope based on
yes, we are. Like
how technology and everything is.
Let's put it this way: like that, my previous employer, they just bought 4 Bamboo X1 carbons because it was just so much more effective than investing 5 to 6 figures into an additional printer. That was a clear picture as to how fast the hobby market is catching up to the commercial market in terms of printing. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that you will never have on the hobby side that like the commercial side has. But the fact that you can still spit out whatever you want as fast as possible with the same type of quality as some of these commercial grade printers, that's a revolution. You know what I mean?
It's truly interesting to see. And I think based on that, we're going to see a lot more coming out that's going to be more affordable, and we're going to have more advances as far as that goes. It might take a while. I just have to wait to find where I want to invest, and like you said, you got a truck payment. So do I. I have a lot of things going on over here too. And it's just one of those things where I got something that works for me. There's nothing pushing me in that direction. So I'm going to sit back and see what happens.
Yep.
I say, you're still making stuff, Josh. You're still making money. You're still keeping busy, and you're still giving back to the community. I mean, you're doing all the right stuff.
I think we all do. I think everyone here talking does that in their own way. But that could be a topic for a whole episode. I think comparing, contrasting, stuff that's commercial grade versus hobbyist, and the narrow gap that we're jumping over right now for it. So, but guys, I think that was a pretty good episode. Matt really had some good combos on here. We definitely have to have you on again. Appreciate you jumping on. Maybe you jump on with Nap here, and we can all have a in-depth conversation like this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love it.
That being said, would you like to say anything to any friends, family, or a little parting message, if you will?
No, I love you all.
Oh,
so I
think the mustache just winked at me.
So Matt, right now we can just find you on Instagram. Are you on YouTube or anything else?
I started a YouTube channel. I did a quick shop tour. It's bad. I would love if you do watch it, just fast forward to the end and watch the bloopers. Everything else is garbage. But I do want to kind of pivot and move into YouTube more.
Okay.
That's the long form editing pill that I have to swallow.
The non-fun computer side of it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I forget what project it was. I recorded it all because I just have phones. I do the phone recording thing, and I usually record vertically for Instagram, and I recorded that whole project, multiple phones, all horizontal, and I still have like 2 hours of footage to like cobble down to, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, and then like do a voiceover or something. So just that editing part. I came into Instagram hot, and I was just like, I'm gonna do a reel every day, and I burnt myself out really quickly.
It happens. I've been there, done that.
And I just kind of got to the point where I was just like, wow, I haven't posted anything for like 3 weeks. I should probably do that.
Well, again, Matt, thank you for joining us. It's Matt at the
Yes.
Wooden Mustache, so look him up on Instagram.
Yes, thank you again for having me, guys.
Josh,
No
what's
problem.
good on your end, man?
Oh, just get out there, go ahead and make some, damn. That's right. You want to get out there and make some sawdust and, use the sound effects. Get out there, make some sawdust, have some fun with it, learn something new, and, help your community in any which way you can. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, just like these guys said, just keep the hands busy, but also teach somebody how to do stuff too, because it's one thing to know stuff, but it's another thing to share it. And like I say every week, if you already know everything, you won't learn anything. So do not be afraid to keep learning. Thanks again for joining us, guys. 208 episodes.
Amen.
Fantastic.
Woo.
And with that, Sawdust Nation
Out.
Hey, pretty good. There we go.
I missed it.
It's all good.
That's okay. We always miss it too. It's fine. We're not what you call professional.